everyone. Oh, welcome to our Wellness Wednesday call, our Oils in Action product trainings. We love educating and guiding you guys, sharing experiences and results that people are getting with oils. We know that doTERRA has been around for a long time, and a lot of us have a lot of oils on the shelf. And we created these trainings, we brought them back so that people can get those oils off the shelf again, really put them into practice. We also have some fun for you here. We want to make sure that you can do Q&A, live Q&A. If you have any questions, we will, at the end of the presentation, we'll make sure that you have time to ask any questions you have about our topic tonight. And we do ask that no photos and recordings are shared online or on social media. That can be for personal, you can take screenshots and use them for personal use only. And also make sure that you display your first and last name on the screen. Again, we have the chat. So we will have Q&A, but if you have any questions that come up during my presentation, go ahead and pop them in the chat and we'll address those during the live Q&A. And then the fun part is that we always give away some really cool prizes, and you must be present to win. If you have won a prize like within the last month, your name comes up, we thank you for being here and being a loyal attendee, but we do want to space it out and help other people enjoy some of these benefits. So don't be hurt if maybe you were a current winner in the last few weeks and we pass it on to the next person, okay? And then also we want to make sure we have your shipping address and your doTERRA enroller's name if available, and send that to us private message, because our gifts are for our customer downline. However, we do open up these trainings to anyone who wants to listen and learn. But as far as the prizes go, they are for our customers because we want to reward their loyalty and their support. But again, thank you all for being here. We're so glad you joined us. And tonight's topic is strengthen the brain and nervous system. And it is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I wish I could have smashed all the things in here, right? But this could be ongoing trainings for months. The brain is one of the most awe-inspiring organs we have, right? I mean, it is so complex that science can't even determine exactly what is happening there. So it is a great organ, right? Why it matters, we know that it's one of the most important, probably the most important organ that we have, because if it doesn't work, we do not have a life, right? So we also see that a lot of brain and mood challenges are rising. Just some statistics, not to be doom and gloom, but 1 in 5 adolescents has a mental or behavioral health condition. Anxiety and depression continue to rise in children and adults. And Alzheimer's may begin 20 to 30 years before symptoms appear. So, is it important today, even if we don't have maybe some obvious things going on with our brain? Yes. I mean, we want to support it every day. All of those little habits, we talk about our daily habits all the time. They are cumulative. We want to make deposits, right, every day to help our brain and our nervous system be optimally. See, my brain's not even working. I need to inhale my oil to work optimally. Optimally, I cannot say that word right now. But we know that it's our command center, right? Our nervous system effortlessly manages our internal communication going on throughout the body. And just to get a good idea, sometimes we may think of the brain and the nervous system maybe as different components, or may not really understand it. It's very complex, but there are divisions of the nervous system. And so our brain and our spine make up our central nervous system. And the whole thing is our body's command center, but the brain really is the processing center. The nervous system is the communication network. So hopefully that helps understand, the difference there. The brain is our command center, right? But the rest of the nervous system is also part of that command center, and it's responsible for that internal communication happening. So we have the central nervous system, which is our brain and spinal cord, and then our peripheral nervous system is everything connected to our spinal cord. Okay, and so the peripheral nervous system is where everything else happens, whether it's involuntary or voluntary. So somatic means that anything somatic going on is something voluntary. When we make a muscle move, or we make our arms move, or we're reading, or we're making something happen in our body, we're telling our nervous system to do something, right? The autonomic side is the side that is involuntary. These are automatic functions that happen in our body, and we don't even think about it. Like when we're digesting or breathing or sleeping, those things are autonomic, part of our autonomic. And then when you break down that autonomic nervous system, we have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. So those are responsible for creating balance in our body. Sympathetic is when we have a stressor of some sort, and our body knows how to handle that stress. The parasympathetic means that our body now knows, okay, that stress is no longer a threat, so now it's going to calm it down and bring it back into homeostasis, a state of calm and balance. But chronic stress disrupts a lot of that communication, and that's where we get that fight or flight or survival mode, or a lot of things starting to happen in our body going wrong. And a lot of times we're looking at the organ or the symptoms, right? But where does it all lead back to? Yes, we do say it leads back to cellular health, but how are those cells organized in our body? It's organized into our nervous system, which will send the messages of what our body should be doing, how to respond, all of those things. So do we need to really pay attention to our daily use of oils to support our brain and our nervous system? Absolutely. Okay, so our brain is always listening. Remember, it's a command center. So yes, our thoughts are very powerful, because whatever we're saying, whether it's conscious, subconscious, whether it's silent or out loud, our brain is listening, and that does influence our health. But there's also sleep, nutrition, movement, relationships, stress, environment, aromas, all of that can influence how our nervous system and brain, how well with the health of it, right? And all those inputs affect our brain chemistry. So it affects how we think, and it affects how we act, and it affects how our body feels. So that brain chemistry gives us output, right? Whether how our mood is, how much energy we have, and stamina, our focus, memory, resilience. So I just put a big hint down there, right? Essential oils are chemical messengers. So if everything going on in our body is brain chemistry, then we would love to be able to have some control over the brain chemistry, right? In a healthy way. We know that doctors will give you medication, and sometimes it is absolutely needed for people, depending on their personal situation, where they may need medication to change their brain chemistry, to balance out some things. But we love that essential oils are doTERRA essential oils that are pure and tested and consistent, right? The potency, everything is there to give us consistent results. Now, I know a lot of times people feel like, I don't get the results that I want. Well, you have to think about what is going on in the brain. There are about over a million, almost 2 million neural connections going on at once, you guys, per second sometimes. So it's mind-boggling to think about how fast our brain works, and that it's in constant motion. There is never one state it is in, right? It's always working. So we have to be patient with ourselves and with our body and with the pathways that have already been created. But if you haven't heard, we have our brains are neuroplastic, right? There's something called neuroplasticity. I didn't put it on the slides, but hopefully you guys we'll look into that a little bit. It's a whole other topic that we can stay on. But basically, our brain is wired with certain pathways because of our thought patterns or behavior patterns, our genetics. There's different things that happen to create pathways. But our brain, we can create new pathways by making it, choosing other responses or other behaviors. Eventually, that's how we create habits, new habits, right? And change our habits. If we continue in a pattern, we can create, just like a hiker going on a trail, they can follow the path of least resistance, right? And it will always be easy to do that. But maybe we want to create a new path, or maybe that one got washed out and we need to, it's harmful and we need to create a new path. Eventually, as you create that new path, it gets easier and easier, right? You start identifying where it is. It's easier for your path, your feet to follow that path. And that's kind of how our brain works as well. It might take some time to make those paths wider and easier to follow, but with consistency, it totally happens. So with these fast-acting chemical messengers, remember, I think we've mentioned this before, but it takes about 22 seconds to reach the brain if you inhale the oils. It takes about 2 minutes if you apply topically, and they're found in our bloodstream or taken internally, and 20 minutes to affect every cell in our body. So they circulate pretty quickly. And these are the best application methods. I will show you the source of where I got this this image in just a minute, a couple minutes. But our neural olfactory pathways are really the fastest way to affect our brain chemistry. So our olfactory bulb that's right behind the top of our nose, the bridge of our nose, it is really the pathway to our brain and our limbic system and what is affecting our mood and our emotions. But we can also support healthy brain function. And we're going to talk about some of the oils that can bypass our blood-brain barrier so that they can actually get inside the tissues of the brain. But essential oils will also protect neurons. They'll protect against stress on the brain, support neurotransmitters. And so basically that is affecting all of our health, right? Whether it's our brain, whether it's the way the signaling to our brain, maybe our pain receptors. Think about all those messages that are going to, if we feel full, if we're satiated, if our the neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin that make us feel happy in life, or just give us that overall sense of well-being. All of those things we want to be healthy, right? In our brain, working in our brain. And don't forget the gut, the gut and brain access, right? The brain to gut access. So that is something that we all probably are familiar with now. Gut health has a big effect on how we feel and our emotions. Most of our neurotransmitters, I'd say 90 to 95%, I think, backed by science, you can look it up, 90 to 95% of our serotonin is produced. That's a neurotransmitter that makes us feel good, right? Our feel good chemicals. 90 to 95% are produced in our gut. That doesn't mean that all of those go to our brain, but we can see how important that connection is. And so when we take care of our health, whether it's through our vitamins, omegas, which is another huge part, we need omegas. The brain is fatty tissue. It's made mostly of fats. What hydrates it? Mostly those omegas, those essential fatty acids, not so much water. So why are omegas so important for us? And guess what? We have the best on the planet. So don't forget your daily omegas and your vitamins that contain like B12 that helps absorb all of that and helps our everything just work better. We need all of these nutrients and food, and go back to our wellness pyramid where we want to make sure that we are looking at all those areas, right? Our nutrition, our hydration. We want to have movement. Exercise is huge for avoiding so many health conditions, right? Health problems that can come up in life. And stress, managing our stress, sleeping, resting, staying detoxing, or avoiding toxic chemicals and environments as much as possible. So all of those things have a bearing, but our essential oils can help create some new messaging in our body as well, and some cleansing. So we want to use them every day. Two of the areas that are probably most important for most people is the focus, and then also uplifting our mood, keeping our mood high, right? We want to make sure that we're not staying in a low state. Yeah, we're going to have emotions that dip and dive, and we're going to have sadness, and we're going to have panic at times, and all of those things. But we can use the oils to shift our brain chemistry in those moments. So some of the favorites for focus, that brain fog, or we're just overwhelmed or scattered. Frankincense is one of our top ones for both areas, for mood and for focus. Frankincense is our go-to. Peppermint is a great one. Rosemary, Spanish sage, lemon, spearmint, intune. I mean, we have so many we can choose from, but all of these are so beneficial for mental clarity, concentration, alertness, memory support, because these oils have certain chemicals that can bypass our blood-brain barrier, which is a barrier that is there to protect our brain so that a lot of things can't access our brain and kill it. Like if that blood-brain barrier wasn't there, a lot of chemicals or things we inhale would instantly damage our brain. But we are built with that. So, but these oils were also built to affect us, right? And they are allowed to access that or cross through that blood-brain barrier. So the oils that we choose to uplift our mood: frankincense, wild orange, bergamot, motivate, adaptive, which I put an E in there, sorry about that, citrus bliss, cheer. And these all can just lift our mood up and help us become emotionally resilient when life throws curveballs at us, and they can really energize us when we just don't feel that motivation, or we don't feel like doing what we have to do. These oils are great. Oh, and real quick, I put this here because the image in the middle, frankincense. This is a frankincense tree. There are different types, right? But this one there's something called doctrine of signatures, if you haven't heard of this, and it is believed that if you look at a plant, it will give you a clue of how it could help us medicinally. And it's really cool when you look into this doctrine of signatures. But what does this look like? It looks like a brain with a nervous system, right? All those synapses in there, and then our spinal cord, or like our brainstem, and going down. So frankincense is a top one for the brain. And I just love looking at doctrine of signatures, especially when it comes to our oils. Okay, so this lady, she's one of my friends, and I've gone to her trainings and I've learned a lot from her. And she has a website called brainessentials.com where you can purchase a lot of the materials. I've used her book for years. She has an app. She also has a free training. Her specialty is for youths who had mental health challenges, dealt with suicide, PTSD, a lot of trauma. But she just teaches how the oils work on our brain, and she has great resources. So if you are not connected with her on Instagram, please follow her on Instagram, or you can go to either of her websites. The brainessentials.com is to purchase any of the materials or download. I think she might have some materials downloaded for free. I'm not sure right now, but she does have a free training on holisticbrain.co. So this is just a great resource to keep in mind if you're helping anybody that needs really serious, really want to target and learn about how essential oils work on the brain. And she has great remedies as well in her books. So from the Essential Life Oil Guidebook, for those that don't have the book, here are 4 great recipes that you can use, whether it's a cognition boost, brain bloom, midday mind reset, and bedtime brain detox. So these are really powerful, but as you can see, a lot of those oils we talked about are in these blends. And you will get so many tremendous benefits. But if you don't even make these, frankincense, you guys, put it in your diffuser at night. Put it on your brain, brain your pulse points around your brain, behind your ears, your temples, the brainstem area. You can drop it directly under your tongue. Another way I love to do it is to push it put a drop. I just do this, like this, and then I'll hold it to the top of my tongue. That's quick brain access. So, so many ways to get that in your system. So I hope you enjoyed that. We want to just make sure that you don't forget about your refer a friend link. Get those that bonus 20% in cash, doTERRA cash. So if you're letting anybody know about this, if they want to order something, they can order from you. You don't have to become a distributor or wellness advocate. They can shop and you get the perks. And then also we have free annual renewal going on for members that have been inactive for 12 months or more. And we are free, talking about frankincense, our free product of the month with 125 PV order. The 15th came and went, so if you customized your order with 125 PV, you cannot get the free product of the month. But if you do the the foundational wellness bundle, that's ongoing throughout the month. So you can still pick up your free frankincense if you have not yet with the foundational wellness bundle. And then 200 PV orders this month, you get a free Rose Touch, you guys. Rose Touch is one of the most powerful oils on the planet. And it actually is good for brain regeneration as well. I didn't mention that, but it is a very powerful one. They've done a lot of studies with diffusing rose, which that would be really, expensive using doTERRA's. It would be expensive using doTERRA's, but it might be worth it for you. I say get the touch roller and use that and combine it with frankincense to enhance the rose so that you can make it stretch out. But rose is so huge for people with Alzheimer's, so just keep that in mind. And then our oils in action lineup is next week, maximize promos and rewards. I'm not sure if that might change. Somebody might have done a switcheroo, but it might be maximize promos and rewards next week. Then we have men's health and hormones coming up, and outdoors summer fun with EOS. And if you didn't hear yet, we have a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to now, and you can access the recordings. Subscribe today. We can even put this in the chat. If somebody can put that in the chat, the link to the YouTube channel, and you guys can catch these recordings now. Isn't that great? All right, we are kind of out of time, so I want to open up Q&A right now, and then if I have time, I'm going to share an experience with you that won't take long. But let's open up the Q&A first.
There were comments about the favorite oils. Someone mentioned Spanish sage. Marva mentioned that. She loves Spanish sage. And that was it. I don't know if anyone had any questions.
Well, guess what? Spanish sage is the giveaway
Yay!
Yes. I'm so happy you mentioned Spanish sage because I feel like it's an overlooked oil. It's one of our newer oils. It's been out for a few years. But it has some really powerful effects. But it's very neuroprotective. It's great for aging, memory, Alzheimer's, dementia, mental performance, word or memory recall, the oxidative stress or cellular toxicity, nerve damage. It goes on and on, but yeah, it's a very powerful oil, and we can also take it internally, and it smells wonderful. It's very similar. Sage is very similar to rosemary, but not quite as pungent or intense.
Mm-hmm. Great. You had an experience?
Oh yes. So we didn't talk entirely about mood, but my friend, I think I've mentioned before, that I have a friend where her husband has a rare case of bipolar. Um, and I don't think I shared this with you. This was probably a little bit more recent. But he had an episode where he just couldn't pull himself out of it. And she said, I wanted to share this with you. It's interesting, an attestation of the benefits of doTERRA. So he had a work audit, caused him to melt down. And she said he slept the next day, still agitated in the morning and overwhelmed. And then she said, okay, let's just go to the park, go for a walk, try to calm him down. They went around nature, did some of the things they like to do, like thrift shopping. But she said when we got home, she goes, okay, now we're going to do our oils. And she said he's been saying for maybe 2 weeks now that he has pains and feels like he's dying. I mean, it was just so intense for him. And she understand. She was telling him, you're very emotional, and maybe your feelings are not being controlled. Maybe not using the oils, as much as we should be. Life happens, and maybe it's making you feel bad physically. So she went and got her Symphony of the Cells book that she has, and she chose the purpose application. So if you're not familiar with Symphony of the Cells, that can be another class for us, but this is how we use our oils. Several different oils related just for what she looked at was what the application was good for. She said, I put on relaxing music, and Jennifer, as soon as I rubbed the frankincense on him, he started crying. Melissa, black pepper, and black spruce, still crying. She's like, if you look up the benefits of those oils, it helps explain it, like what he was going through. She said afterwards, he said he started to cry, like she, telling her like she hadn't noticed. But unlike other times when he cries, the tears just kept pouring out. Like he was done crying, but the tears kept coming. I reminded him that some chemicals can only get out of our brain through tears. And she said, he's been good since that massage, more balanced and no more pains.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. That makes me cry every time I hear stuff
Right?
like this.
Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that.
But I mean, these are powerful experiences that I feel like it's such a privilege to be able to teach somebody how about these oils, and you don't know how it's going to impact their life. Um, I have to say, my friends there, they live very simply, not a lot of income. But do you think that they see the value in their oils? They don't bat twice about making sure they have what they need, because in times like this, it can really rescue someone. So keep
You,
sharing, you guys. Keep sharing. It's
beautiful
powerful.
example of that. Mhm. Would you
All right.
like me to stop the recording and then we can
Oh no, go ahead and do
do the
the
raffle?
raffle on the recording. Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
All right. Thanks, Abby. See you later.
All right. Ready?
Oh, pretty.
Yeah, we got lavender fields. Carla, woo woo.
Nice.
All right.
All right. Congratulations, Carla.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. All right, guys. Well, we will see you next week. And I believe Amanda is teaching next week.
Right.
We had a little shift in our schedule. Not that you knew who was doing it, but I'm pretty sure Amanda's going to be on next week. So
Yep.
she'll have some great content for us.
Sounds good.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you,
Thank
Lisa.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.